This is not a legend. This is not a campfire story. These are the documented exorcism cases from Mexico that the Catholic Church has acknowledged, investigated, and in some instances, feared. Mexico, with its deep Catholic roots and a history shaped by indigenous beliefs, has become one of the hotspots for possession cases in the modern world. Priests here say the veil between the living and the supernatural is thinner than anywhere else they've been. And tonight, we step into that veil, guided only by testimony, church records, and the voices of the people who survived. Our first case comes from the outskirts of Mexico City in the late 1990s. A young woman, whose name the church still keeps confidential, began experiencing violent behavioral changes after a series of unexplained nighttime terrors. Doctors insisted she was healthy. Psychologists found no disorder. But the family reported her speaking in a voice they swore wasn't hers. When objects started moving on their own, the family made a desperate visit to the archdiocese. Their request was a full investigation into what they believed was demonic possession. The church sent 2 priests and a medical team. Their final report, still quoted in training materials, describes the moment the woman shouted details about one priest's past sins only he would have known. This led the priests to authorize an exorcism. It took months. It ended with the woman collapsing in exhaustion, finally free from the voice that had haunted her. This case would become one of the examples used to justify the rise in exorcism specialists in the country. The next case, known publicly only as María, remains one of the church's most disturbing modern files. It began in Monterrey, where a teenager suddenly developed a voice described as multiple tones at once. Her mother believed she was being haunted by something tied to a family curse. Priests who visited the home reported an intense smell of sulfur that appeared and vanished without warning. During prayer sessions, Maria's ribs visibly tightened under her skin as though something inside her resisted every word. Her body showed scratches that appeared in real time as if carved by invisible hands. This led the local bishop to approve a formal rite. During the first session, María reportedly shouted in a fluent indigenous dialect she did not know. Witnesses say the temperature in the room dropped instantly. A candle exploded next to the altar. The girl's voice transformed into a hoarse growl, repeating the same phrase, "She is ours." After hours of struggle, María fainted violently to the floor. The priest declared the rite incomplete. The struggle took 7 exorcisms over nearly a year. When she finally recovered, she remembered nothing. The priests involved stated publicly that it was one of the most difficult exorcisms they had ever performed. In 2015, Mexico appointed its first official chief exorcist, Father Francisco Javier Vasquez. This decision raised eyebrows worldwide. According to church officials, possession cases in Mexico had grown so fast that they needed a national coordinator. This decision was influenced by one case involving a man in his 30s from Puebla. He claimed he began hearing voices after participating in a ritual from a local witchcraft group. The church verified he was not under the influence of drugs or psychosis. During his first examination, he produced guttural sounds that medical staff could not explain. At one point, he allegedly levitated several inches off the ground. It was an event that priests described carefully because they feared public mockery. This case became evidence that Mexico needed trained specialists, not just parish priests. Father Vasquez now oversees dozens of exorcists nationwide. All are trained to separate psychological illness from genuine possession. He has stated openly that he witnesses at least 3 credible possession cases a week. Not every documented case ends with a dramatic expulsion. One of the most controversial files belongs to a young mother named Reyes, living near Guadalajara. She began experiencing fits that looked like seizures. Medical tests came back normal. She became terrified of religious images, refusing to enter rooms containing a crucifix. Her husband reported she would wake up screaming, claiming she saw a shadow sitting on her chest. Priests noted her aversion to holy water during the investigation. But unlike other cases, her possession was never fully confirmed. The church classified it as demonic oppression, not full possession. Her case is now used in training programs to teach priests how to distinguish between spiritual and psychological symptoms. It reminds us that not every case fits clean categories of good and evil. Among Mexico's exorcists, one case is spoken about quietly, almost in whispers. It involves an elderly woman from a rural town in Michoacan. Her neighbors believe she had become possessed after spending years alone in a house rumored to be cursed. When priests arrived, she stared at them and calmly predicted the exact date one priest's father would die. The priest dismissed it. Then it happened. This moment forced the archdiocese to escalate the case. During the exorcism, witnesses claimed the woman's voice shifted into a deep, masculine tone. She recited personal information about every person in the room. The ritual lasted 7 hours. When it was over, the woman collapsed and entered a long period of silence. She lived peacefully for the rest of her life. Priests who were present still call it the case that changed their belief from theory to certainty. The Catholic Church in Mexico now trains more exorcists than almost any country in the world. They report that cases are rising, not falling. Some blame drug cartel violence. Some blame brujeria, black magic, and occult practices woven into the culture. Others believe the country's deep trauma has created openings for darkness. Whatever the cause, the Church maintains that every case you've heard tonight is real, documented, investigated, and acknowledged by trained exorcists whose names and testimonies still exist in official files. These stories are not meant to glorify fear. They serve as a reminder that, in Mexico, faith and horror walk side by side. For the people who survived these encounters, the line between the natural and the supernatural disappeared forever. Whether you believe in demons or not, the voices, the scars, and the files locked inside the Church's archives remain. For the exorcists who stand against them, each new case is a battle they prepare for with prayer, courage, and the knowledge that sometimes the darkness answers back.